Hey, I'm Kaylee, and today I'm going to talk about a little bit what's going on in the astrology and how that relates to the collective whole and what we're all experiencing in this time period around August of 2022. So right now we're in a huge transition, and when we look into astrology, we can use astrology to look at the macro lens of reality, what we're all experiencing, and then also hone it down to a micro level to see what we're individually experiencing by our own charts, right? So when we look at the bigger whole, we're looking at the north and the south node, and these are very key aspects in astrology because it's like where we were and where we're going, and that battle and that polarity that's happening within us all in that time. So right now our south node is in Scorpio, our north node is in Taurus, and what that means is that we're all having to deal with our collective shadow. Scorpio is like the depth, the darkness, it can be karma, and it can be like unpretty things, and it ultimately, Scorpio, it's a water sign, and it's like the scorpion, so forms of Scorpio can really sting people and trigger and cause those inner emotions to come up for certain reasons, ultimately to transcend. So when we're looking from a scorpionic lens and that archetype, which we all have in some aspect in our chart, Scorpio in our past South Node is teaching us how to rise above, how to feel into our body, feel into our emotions, because water is emotions, and how to connect to that depth within us. And that means having to really feel into ourselves, honor our triggers, honor our traumas, and have a new way to transform so that we can all be like the phoenix, grow, spread our wings, and fly in better and bigger perspectives and in better ways. And it's tricky because we can consciously choose to evolve, or we can consciously choose to stay as we are and repeat the same cycles, and that's karma, right? And that's why it's so important to understand astrology and look at different aspects of the world so that we can really understand what's going on and how we can be the change in the world to create a better reality. And what's most important right now is just to understand that what we choose today is going to affect tomorrow and future generations. And if we don't make changes, we're going to repeat the past, and we're going to go back to those dark times and have to relive those wounds and continue to live on the wheel of karma, or we can transcend and live into a better way. And Taurus, the north node, where we're all aiming for, it's really teaching us about values, how to connect to what we really like, what we desire, and what's integrity to us, like what's truly valuable. Yet we have Scorpio down here, which is triggering past, what we've learned in the past, our wounds around all of that, including abundance and money, and wanting us to transform so that we can live in this higher state of reality, which is Taurus. And Taurus is like the goddess. She values herself. She has her riches, the empress. She has love, flow, and abundance, and she knows how to harmonize. And Taurus is an earth sign, so what Taurus teaches us is how to be in the body, connect to the body. And with the polarity of Scorpio and Taurus, it's a time to heal our wounds and our trauma, and to be in the physical body, and to allow these wounds to come up however they come up, to feel them, to look at them, to understand them, and to transmute them so that we can live in a higher vibration. Taurus teaches us about love, and it's through our values and integrating and becoming whole within ourselves we can rise to live in a more soul-aligned way, and more importantly, tap into the love within us. And it's human nature to look outside of us, to look to another person, a relationship, and to get stuck in these past belief systems around how life needs to be, the timing around it, and what we need to do and attach ourselves to, right? And Taurus is really teaching us to be the individual, to honor ourselves, honor the earth, and find sustainable ways of living and relating, and then using that beautiful harmonic energy to be of value and to use your value to create something amazing, And it's funny because Taurus is the bull in astrology, and its shadow and like weakness is being too stubborn. So it's like on top of all the scorpionic depth, like raw, like passion, desire, all this like deep inner stuff, there's like this Taurus energy, which is like worth, value. And so we have these extreme energies, and that's causing us all to be a little bit out of balance and to have to work together to harmonize in how we can all really relate better, form deeper relationships, connect better, and be more like honest and transparent with one another, you know? Who we have in our lives, they're usually there for a reason. And when we have conflict, we can choose whether we, stay guarded, put up a wall, block someone, oh, F you, and like go run a rampage or whatever and cause drama, right? Or we can choose to be like, wait, what is this teaching me? Like, what is this trigger? Why is this person showing up like this? What's that trigger in me? What can I learn and how can I transcend this? How can I have an adult conversation with someone to work out things, to communicate, express ourselves, right? Taurus is a lot of throat energy too. How can we align to love one another, even if, I'm not saying you have to be in a relationship with everyone, but how can you look at another person and diffuse the drama, and rather than blocking and staying guarded, and oh, this person did this and I'm the victim and blah, and projecting what we think is going on, how can we see the bigger picture and learn to heal our wounds? And that's really what Scorpio teaches us. And it's not easy because we live in a society that is heavily medicated, heavily detached. Escapism is a normal thing, and we don't really know what emotional intelligence is, let alone how to find it and create it, right? And we all have generational trauma that has been passed down through generations, affecting all of us, period. Some more than others, of course, depending on, what you chose in this lifetime and the karmic influences. But it's all like we're all needing to look at what the past has taught us and how we can transform to bridge the gap and create a brighter future. And it's imperative we start within ourselves and the relationships we have. And this time period is really showing us what works and what doesn't. How can we get out of the darkness of Scorpio and transcend to a higher, moralistic, more integral society? And it's a journey, right? And we've been having this alignment in astrology since January of 2022, and it's going to keep going through July of 2023. And so it's like we've all been dealing with these shadows aspects and this polarity within us, and needing to confront the pain and find conscious ways of living and sustaining one another. And if we don't begin to work together, we're going to fail. And the war that's inside of us is going to escalate outside of us. And we can play mind games with each other, like, oh, she did this, he did this, poor me, poor them, blame them, point the finger, wasn't me, not my problem, put up a wall, let's block, fuck you, like there's so many things that human nature learns, but like the war is going to continue until we resolve the inner pain and can live free of the bullshit, and actively look each other in the eye and be like, hey, that hurt me, or hey, I'm feeling this way about this, and form emotional intimacy. And if you look in America and the pattern, I'll say, of the high divorce rates that have happened throughout the years, and if you look at how our medical system even is set up, we don't have real sustainable ways to create wellness and happiness within ourselves. And adding on to the generational trauma that's been passed down, it's like we all have shit we carry and we all have dysfunction. So how can we work together to get out of the dysfunction, get out of the insecurity, and to become authentic in ourselves and okay with who we are and who we're not, right? And to love and allow one another to express our individual weirdness from a high conscious state of love and respect. And it's with the mindfulness, which is the consciousness of how we are behaving, how our words align with our actions, how, we speak our reality and how our mind creates it. So it's forcing us all to look at where we're out of alignment and how we can deal with our internal issues in better ways. And that means looking in the mirror and looking at yourself and taking full responsibility, right? And looking at past ways you've treated people, conversations, and wanting to mend the gap to create the peace and the love and the unity. Because we're not separate from one another, we're not separate from nature, and tools like astrology can help us all understand our psyche and the reality that we're in so we can get out of it and live in a better way. But if we deflect it and deny it and stay in our patterns, we're going to continue to live with the wounds, live unconscious, and perpetuate the cycles. Now back to Scorpio, it's like we're needing to look at our individual karma as well, like what we chose on a soul level in this lifetime, and accept it and work through it. And that can be relationships, that can be pain in the body, that can be physical disease, even in a family that we, grew up with. And instead of holding on to the hate and animosity, and getting into dysfunctional relationships as a way to escape, we're all learning to relate better, and that means using relationships as a way to transform and to grow, to open ourselves rather than close ourselves, and to find that inner security in ourselves. So back to astrology, the Scorpio is ruled by the 8th house, and Taurus is ruled by the 2nd house. So then there's this polarity also going on in conjunction, where we're looking at our 2nd house of security, values, possessions, what material wealth really means, how to create abundance, versus the 8th house, which is again the karma, the betrayals, the abandonment, the deep wounds, the greed, the sex, the cheating, the death. So there's like this polarity going on where we're not really sure what to do and how to stay in the higher realm of Taurus to create the abundance from a conscious perspective of integrity, love, and connection, right? And there's the Scorpio energy that's almost like demonic coming in and like causing us all to like kind of become like little monsters and like act out and get triggered and, have fear of money, fear of the financial system, whatever else. And so there's all this polarity going on that's affecting our inner and our outer reality. And, they say that you have to lose it all to get it all. And it's like, we have to be willing to take the next step, as scary as that is, to help ourselves in order to become secure within. And the only way that you become secure within yourself is through the mental and emotional balance. And it's feeling into that physical body, treating yourself well, creating the inner sanctuary. That's like what yoga teaches. It's like self-love and self-care. And I know those terms are way too popular and oversaid, but it's like really filling your own cup, finding your inner happiness, and most importantly right now, knowing how to be an individual and what that means to you. Ditching the old belief systems, ditching the darkness, and healing these things that cause addictions, drugs, drama, betrayal, third-party sex things, like all these like darker, lower forms of energy. We need to transcend them. And most of all right now, it's human greed. Because if we all attach material to money, we're going to continue to starve ourselves. We're going to think money rules the world. We're not going to chase love and happiness, and we're never going to find real ways of relating. And we're not going to make sustainable rituals or create sustainable practices so that we can preserve the earth, Mother Nature, and the people around, right? So we all have to look at where we're playing in the field and what we're choosing. Where are our values? What really matters to us? And how are we aligning with those? Are we being loyal? Are we being honest? If we want love, are we in a loving state? Are we treating one another well? And are we standing up for ourselves in the process and not falling into victim or overpowering? How are we finding that sweet balance of conscious creation and connection? Now, it's only through love we can transcend pain. And it's only with the recognition, looking at ourselves, looking at the problems, the dysfunction, the devil, the demons, whatever you want to call them, and choosing to create the new habits and forms to shift the energy and to live better. And it's love that'll set us all free. But we can't be isolated, and we got to stop staying guarded, taking the easy way out, thinking someone outside of us will do it, saying God's gonna do it. It's gonna start with us. And to have that inner faith to be able to live integral, live in loving ways, and look at our shadow and love it all and accept it, but be able to transform us so that you're living in better ways, And no one can deny the bullshit that happens every day, right? How the system sucks, or all the stuff, or conspiracy theories. Like that's all inevitable. But we can look at astrology as a very helpful tool to show us how we can move from this lower realm into a higher realm and build a better reality. A lot of Scorpio is like demonic and devilish, and it's like those animalistic forms, like In the Bible, they say the 7 sins. So it's like, how can we look at that? How we're all doing this, using sexuality in negative ways, body positivity, whatever it is that's coming up, addictions, escapism, like where are we not even like taking responsibility for our money and building our own foundation, and where are we relying on others? And all this karma that's pent up, and most importantly, emotions, and the negative emotions, and the hatred we hold, and the judgments, and all the ways the mind is like projecting and thinking, it's exhausting. And mindfulness is going to be more and more and more important these days, because what we have inside affects the reality and what we attract. So like, if we're not conscious in our heads and we're blaming people or making up stories, like that's going to cause a lot of people to spin out. And if we're living in fear and the markets are like this, that's going to cause more chaos. So it's like, how can we band together to use money as a resource, to not be afraid of it, and to honor it, and to use it in positive ways, How can we look at our spending habits? How can we feed our bellies better instead of overstuffing? How can we drink more water and just feel into ourselves? Maybe help our health and lose weight. And what can we do today to help future generations set up for success? Because we're not there yet. And until we can all love and get along, we won't be there, and the wars will continue. And right now, the wars already started in the mind. And the bullshit and the polarity we have with other people, we need to form conscious ways of relating and conscious ways to work through our wounds and heal our traumas. And the best way we can do that is with real love. To transcend the limited mind, the ego, these animalistic forms, to look at ourselves, to communicate and apologize, to have those hard conversations, to look at what the family dynamics are, how that's affected these generations, to look at our system, and to get help in new ways, holistic ways, so that we can all be happy and live well. And most of all, we all get to learn to love and open our hearts. And this guarded energy, this like masculine and feminine polarity that we're all always in tune with, it needs to be balanced so that women can live in a loving, heartfelt state, and men can do the work to look at their shadow too. Get out of this patriarchy society of control, thinking someone's more entitled or better, and too much pride. And how can we work together to have both sexes and people love one another for who we are and work through things? Because we're not perfect. We never will be. And the more we stay in our ignorance, the more we'll miss out on the bliss. And we have the opportunity now to mend the brokenness, the broken hearts, the brokenness of America, to rise in ourselves, to tap into our inner passion, what really drives us, and how are we using passion, sexual energy in a positive way to create rather than destroy? And how are we treating our environment and our communities? And where can we build more sustainable and loving connections, speak nicely to one another, and deal with this inner chaos that will continue to be triggered, right? And if you look at other aspects of astrology right now, everything's like retrograde, and it's a blast to the past. And these issues are going to keep coming up. And we have to deal with Scorpio and the past in a conscious form so we don't recreate it. And it's through one another we're going to do that. And it's ultimately learning how to create peace, love, and harmony in ourselves, and to live with integrity, and to hold values, and to create a world where people can live free, we can enjoy ourselves, and where new generations can live better, have loving parents, have love in the home, have functional relationships, and grow up in a world that's real, beyond the social media, beyond what you look like, beyond your money and your title. But what if we could just love and connect and relate and get along peacefully and happily? Because the war always begins within, and it's building now. And these Scorpionic and Taurus nodes will continue to affect us, and the fear of the money and the finances, and how we put all our value into things that aren't really very valuable, that's going to affect the future and what's going to happen. And you know, if it's going to take the market to fall to teach us all this lesson, that's what's going to happen. Because we need to learn to connect and relate, rely on one another, and have that real support system. Because what would the world be without people? And who would we be if we're all isolated inside wearing masks, unable to express ourselves, imprisoned? It's not a very wonderful world, but the better world is coming, and it's going to take everyone to get on board to build the bridge, stop hating and judging, stop the conspiracy theories, stop wasting time, own up and transform, take off the mask, and find the individual light, you know? Love, kindness, positivity, and beyond head, learn to come into the heart. Get out of the stubborn beliefs, the Taurus, the go, 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 the drive, the control, the I'm right, you're wrong. And you transform with Scorpio through the depth of heart, through the emotions, connecting to what's real, becoming what's real, and knowing that love will set you free, and that love is the answer. And it's through ourselves and opening the heart and releasing these old defenses and patterns of abandonment and fear, insecurities. That's how we rise, and we can rise together or apart, but it's a lot easier when you join forces, when you respect people with where they're at, when you help one another grow, and when you learn to have your own back and then help others along the way. And maybe then we can build a happily ever after in a better world that's not limited by control and human greed and poor mistakes and politics of the past and history. But we can learn and we can transform, and we can choose every day to choose love, sustainability, the earth, and higher values of integrity to create life in a more beautiful form and to be able to live happy and well. So take care of you, your heart, and your body in this next year, and be willing to go to the depth of your soul, who you are. And if you're lost or stuck or in fear, I invite you to try something new, to get help, to talk to someone, get your astrology chart read. Heck, I'll do it. Open your mind, and in that space you start to open the heart, and then we start to love one another for who they are and who they're not. And we can speak kindly, and we can smile, and we can learn to get along and through the storm, you know? All right, so take care. I'm Kaylee. Check out my website, kayleebliss.com. Take a like and subscribe to this channel, and leave comments below too. And I hope this helped you. And I encourage you all to practice the yoga, do the yoga, tame the mind, look at what the mental energy is teaching you, and come into the heart. Free the emotions and the pain. Get rid of the drama and rise. Rise for love. We can do it together. Cheers and namaste.